Hello there, welcome to this week's episode of Our Report. This program is proudly brought to you by Ghana Revenue Authority, Gold Company Limited, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and Serene Insurance. This week, in our main subject of discussion, we'll be looking at the perception of selling cars in the ports against customs auctions that are undertaken. But before we bring you the abridged version of the main subject, members of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism paid a working visit to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to familiarize themselves with developments at the ports, particularly in the area of digitization of port processes. The members visited both ports of TEMA and Takoradi.
Members of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism have on Tuesday, 22nd September 2020, paid a working visit to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to familiarize themselves with the implementation of digitization programs and other key developments at Ghana's ports. According to the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee, Nana Marfo Ameniampong, in line with their oversight responsibility on trade, it was important to interact with the Port Authority, which plays a key role in trade facilitation in the country, to ascertain the impacts of national digitization programs and reforms on the activities at Ghana's ports. The corporate IT manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Francis Donko, indicated that tireless efforts by the Port Authority has ensured a seamless integration with a new integrated customs management system for efficient cargo clearance at the country's ports, despite some challenges during the initial rollout of the system.
We are able to do that. We're able to complete end-to-end transactions using the ICOMS platform, and that our systems are picking the information directly from the ICOMS platform, to generate automatic invoice for our customers, and that is really working well.
The general manager in charge of corporate planning, Samuel Intokumi, said investments made in Ghana's ports over recent years are geared towards growing the cargo traffic by the end of the year 2020.
Containers measured in TEUs have been growing steadily over the last 5 years. We hit 1 million TEUs in 2018. 1 million is a psychological threshold. And then, thankfully, this year is projected that we'll still hit that psychological threshold of 1 million.
He said the 50% expected decline in cargo traffic, particularly through the port of Takoradi, is due to the negative consequences of COVID-19 on oil and gas sector, as well as the capping of manganese exports by government. Members of the Parliamentary Select Committee wrapped their visit with a tour of the Meridian Port Services Terminal 3 to familiarize themselves with operations at the gigantic port facility at the port of Tema. The chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee said, having had first-hand experience of developments at the country's ports, he gained a deeper appreciation of the progress made.
Basically, we are very much impressed that we've been with the ports. I mean, they've told us what they are doing. And
meanwhile, following their visits to the port of Tema, members of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism have also paid a working visit to the port of Takoradi to abreast themselves with developments pertaining to the implementation of digitization programs and other related issues. The ranking member of the committee, Emmanuel Kofi-Boa, reiterated his outfit's interest in the impact of government policies on digitization, among other things, to position the port of Takoradi towards the goal of being a world-class and highly competitive port. The director of the Port of Takoradi, Captain Ebenezer Feizi, said many infrastructural developments ongoing at that port will be operational in 2021, and those are positioned to increase efficiency at the nation's premier port. The chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism, Nana Marfo Ameniampong, said upon his assessment, he is pleased to see the Takoradi port making strides to take its rightful place with regards to port productivity in the region.
Meanwhile, the ranking member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism, Emmanuel Kofi Amabua, and his deputy, Yusuf Suleimana, have lauded the initiative to construct the KETA port and the role that is being played by the director of KETA port to see to it that this project comes to fruition.
The ranking member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism, Emmanuel Amakofibua, and his deputy, Yusuf Sulemana, have re-echoed the significance of the initiative to construct the KETA port and have appreciated the role that has been played by the director of the port of KETA to see to it that the project comes to fruition.
Let me make it very clear that it will really be to the country's national security interest to have that port going.
I've never read anywhere where somebody suggests that this is not a project that is necessary. We all realize that it is necessary. And of course, the president has every right through an executive instrument to do what he's done.
The acknowledgement follows a briefing by the general manager in charge of marketing and corporate affairs of GPHA, Esther Jebidonko, to the members of the Parliamentary Select Committee during their working visit to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to appraise themselves with developments at the country's ports. The GM for Marketing and Corporate Affairs at GPHA assured that plans to bring the KETA port into being is progressing steadily under the leadership of its director, Dr. Alexander Yahweh-Duse.
He has successfully led the GPHA team to be able to come up with the consultants who are doing the feasibility studies.
She explained the painstaking nature of planning for the development of a strategic national asset like a port in order to position it to serve the country for decades and beyond.
A port building is a massive infrastructure project. It takes time. There's so much to be done as preliminary activities before the port itself is built.
The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Lugoje, stated GPHA's commitment to ensuring all processes leading up to the construction of a well-positioned KETA port that would serve the desires of the Ghanaian people.
Going down into when the feasibility would have been completed, we'll get the report and want to begin actual construction. Certainly, basic facilities will be provided by GPHA.
He, however, stated that after the ongoing feasibility studies have been fully assessed in 2021, the Port Authority would consider all potential financial avenues of investment into the project for success to be achieved.
We are getting quite a number of interests that are expressed, general open interests that are expressed, and we are looking at a situation where we have partners that will move business, that will generate business within the region and ship in and out.
The ranking member of the committee, Emmanuel Amakofibua, called for increased collaboration between the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and his outfit towards the successful realization of the KETA Port project.
Now, to our main subject on perception of selling cars in the ports vis-à-vis customs auction, Iron Ports engaged Prince Akwabwa, who is the Principal Revenue Officer in charge of auctions at the Ghana Revenue Authority, who shed more light on how customs carries out its auctions, which has no bearing on the wrong perception that cars are being sold in the ports. Let's take a listen at what he had to say.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority continues to caution the general public that cars are not sold at the country's ports by GRA or any of its allied institutions working at the ports. Speaking on Iron Port, the Principal Revenue Officer in charge of customs auctions, Prince Akwabwa, warned the car-buying public against falling prey to unscrupulous individuals who peddle falsehood about selling cars at the port.
People going in, giving money to people with the promises that I'm going to, wait for this time when auction is about to take place, I'll give you. It's not true, and we have to tell our citizens to desist from that.
He said the public should not be misled by the numerous cars on display at some sections of the port, emphasizing that those cars are people's imports waiting clearance. The customs official advised persons interested in buying vehicles to engage credible garages. But in the instances where dealers in cars claim to sell their vehicles at the port to get money to clear others, he advised buyers to check with the Customs Division first to verify all documents pertaining to ownership and clearance of vehicles before parting away monies to such dealers.
Please make sure that you send the car to Customs office. Let Customs authenticate it for you that this car had well been cleared from the port before you part any money.
The principal revenue officer in charge of customs auction disabused the false public perception that what is casually termed as auction cars are always readily available for purchase. Instead, he said, auctions on cars are not frequent, and it takes a thorough process for cars to be marked for auction, and even in that case, announcements are only made in the newspapers.
We don't sell cars. Customs don't sell cars. We auction cars, and the auction is not done daily. It is done periodically, and you have to be physically present, partake in the process before you win.
He said the purpose of auctions are for the state to retrieve duties of uncleared goods, and that the reserve price for auction goods, such as vehicles, are equivalent to the duties. Prince Akwabwa revealed that auctions are done in a concealed manner, where potential bidders and even the designated auctioneer are not privy to the details of auction goods prior to the day of auction to ensure a fair bidding process.
The auctioneers don't even have APO before the auction, let alone somebody going to see them that I want this car, I want this car. No. And two, even the price, the reserve price, the duty, we don't, when we give the list to them, that portion is not given to them.
He said the target of customs auction is the reasonable bidder who has the purchasing power to pay within the reserve range and not necessarily the highest bidder. One of the reasons is to ensure that importers of vehicles who fail to clear on time do not get a competitive advantage by bidding higher than fellow bidders.
We don't use the highest bidder, we use the reasonable bidder, so that if you are the importer, you have to still go through that competitive bidding. And I mean, we have
you may lose it.
You may lose it eventually.
He explained that sometimes importers of especially overaged vehicles may want to delay clearance with the hope of coming to acquire these vehicles through auction, which is usually relatively cheaper. The principal revenue officer in charge of auctions, however, admitted that the penalty element eliminated from overaged vehicles during auction negatively impacts the initial effort to discourage the use of such vehicles in the country.
Why wouldn't you deter me from using the car, but you deter somebody who imported it?
Yes, this thing I'm saying is law.
Okay. So it's not Akwabwa
who is taking off the overage element. But what our advocate is that, yes, I share your reason.
So you are.
He also added, however, that vehicles intended for government where initially the duty component was exempted, when auctions are done and ownership is transferred to individuals, the duty component would have to be satisfied by the new owner.
Now that they are being auctioned, yes, a value will be put on it by the auctioneer, who is not a custom appointed auctioneer.
Okay.
But that duty which was exempted, because now the ownership is changing from government to an individual, it has to be settled.
The customs official also indicated that the division is considering online methods of auctions in order to broaden its reach, and procurement plans are advanced to select the technological partner for that service. He, however, warned that until a formal announcement is issued by the Ghana Revenue Authority, the authority does not conduct online auctions, and the public should treat any current advertisement of that nature in the name of the GRA as fraudulent.
Let me caution the public that we have not started doing online auction.
Iron Port returns shortly.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals. street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered. So it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
Coming up next are local news around the port, including the agreement to maintain cocoa freight in the year 2021 and the marking of the World Maritime Day in Ghana.
Residents of the KETA community, including traditional authorities, have been sensitized on the ongoing construction of the fishing landing site in that area. A delegation comprising the Deputy Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Kingsley Francis Atukujo, Deputy Volta Regional Minister Johnson Avulete, officials from the Ministry of Transport, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, including the Director of Port of KETA, engineers from the China Harbour Engineering Company, and a project consultant, embarked on a sensitization campaign to officially introduce the contractors and engineers to the traditional authorities and people of KETA, as well as address all their concerns regarding that project. KETA is one of 12 designated coastal towns by government for the development of modern fishing ports and landing sites in the country, which is intended to give a major boost to the fishing industry in the country. Like the other 11 fish landing sites, China Harbour Engineering Company will be constructing the site in KETA with assistance from its local partner, Bluestone Limited. The director in charge of policy and planning at the Ministry of Transport, Irene Mesiba, who spoke on behalf of the Minister of Transport, Kweku Ofori-Isiama, said the project has the potential to transform the local economy of KETA and contribute massively to the country at large.
In terms of benefits, there is no doubt that the project will improve the livelihood of the community and also create jobs for the youth of KETA and its environs, both during the construction and after completion of the project.
Speaking on the scope of the project, the consultant for the project, Richard Mann, said the fishing landing site would aid fishermen dock their fishing boats safely at the shores of KETA to complement their fishing expeditions. He said the engineers would choose sites for the specific structures after consultations with the municipal assembly and fisherfolk in the community. The traditional authorities of KETA expressed enthusiasm towards the realization of the fish landing site in the coastal town of KETA. The Deputy Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Kingsley Francis Atukujo, thanked the President Nana Akufo-Addo for the enormous investments he has invited onto the development of the fisheries sector. So far, about 5.2% of required works on the fishing port and landing site has been done, with physical construction works about taking off. The 2020-2021 edition of the annual Cocoa Freight Negotiation Conference has been held in Ghana to enable stakeholders agree on freight rates and conditions for the shipment of cocoa to destinations in Europe, the Americas, Asia, among others, for the coming season. The conference, which was the second of its kind being held in Ghana since the formal collaboration between the Cocoa Marketing Company Limited and the Ghana Shippers Authority this year, brought together shipping lines, shipping agents, as well as other allied stakeholder agencies. The Cocoa Marketing Company, Ghana Shippers Authority, and the 24 shipping lines operating in the country resolved to maintain the existing freight rates for cocoa shipments for the 2020-2021 cocoa season. This means calculated per ton, shipping cocoa to their various marketing destinations across the world remains unchanged at the existing rates of £30 to the United Kingdom, €49 to the Northern Continent, €56 to Estonia, €55 to Mediterranean Europe, $94 to the Far East, and $103 to Brazil. The bunker adjustment factor was equally maintained at 27% for all destinations, but for the UK, which was reduced to 25%. The rates were arrived at after extensive negotiations on the future of the sector and how best to cushion the cocoa market and business and keep it thriving amidst the obvious impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on that sector. Addressing the conference ahead of the negotiations, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Benonita Bismarck, noted that the year under review saw bunker prices remaining slightly low with stable freight rates.
We mentioned that the coming into effect of the IMO Sulfur Cap 2020 on January 1st, and noted that there was no certainty about how it was going to affect the global shipping industry. Its implementation, however, coincided with COVID-19, and we can now say that bunker prices are slightly lower and freight rates have been quite stable.
The managing director of the cocoa marketing company, Vincent Otre-Akomia, said some of the challenges faced during the 2019-2020 cocoa season include reopening of containers, inadequate containers to staff cocoa from some carriers, and delay in releasing bills of lading. He noted that even though a chunk of the nation's cocoa comes from the western region, many shipping lines are reluctant in docking their vessels at the port of Takoradi to transport the commodity. Vincent Otre-Akomia said, while the country's export of cocoa is expected to be around 700,000 tons in the coming season, the CMC is collaborating with other stakeholders to put together some incentives to attract more vessels to cut cocoa from the port of Takoradi.
We are therefore encouraging as many shipping lines as possible to avail themselves to load cocoa from Takoradi. We are assuring you of incentives like greater volumes and free empty container terminal at our Kajebril. We are taking the issue of port tariffs and port charges with Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority.
The Ghana maritime industry on 24th September 2020 joined the rest of the world to mark the World Maritime Day, a day set aside by the International Maritime Organization to celebrate the international maritime industry's contribution towards the global economy, especially in shipping. This year's World Maritime Day focused on sustainable shipping for a sustainable planet to raise awareness of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and revise the work that the International Maritime Organization and its member states are undertaking to achieve the targets. Speaking on behalf of the Minister for Transport, Kweku Ofori-Isiama, the Chief Director at the Ministry, Mabel Sego, charged the Ghana Maritime Authority to take up all the necessary measures to enforce the Global Sulfur Cap 2020 in line with the determination of International Maritime Organization to ensure a truly sustainable planet. Stating government's direction for continuity in the shipping industry amid the COVID-19 pandemic, the Chief Director of the Transport Ministry assured the Maritime Authority of government's continuous support towards achieving success in its mandate of protecting Ghana's marine space.
In the last few years, the Ghana Maritime Authority has been retooled in a manner never seen before in the nearly 2 decades history of the organization. Since 2017, the GMA has procured 7 speedboats with which officials of the authority are patrolling in the country's ports to ensure no illegal activity takes place and also to conduct search and rescue activity.
The Director General of GMA, Thomas Kofi Alonsi, acknowledged the urgency attached to the enforcement of reforms in the maritime sector in order to promote sustainable shipping and protect the environment. He said the Ghana Maritime Authority is also playing its role and has procured sulfur kits and other equipment in compliance with flag state and port state measures.
The implementation of the new sulfur limit falls within the remit and responsibility of the Ghana Maritime Authority. I am therefore pleased to announce that the authority procured sulfur test kits and other equipments to ensure compliance of this very important regulation.
He, however, called for a collective approach in the area of technical cooperation and transfer of technology relating to the improvement of energy efficiency of ships and support from the international community to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Global Sustainable Development.
Up next is international port and maritime news.
On 24th September, the IMO and the global maritime community came together to celebrate the annual World Maritime Day. The 2020 theme was in line with the industry-wide efforts pushing to save fuel and develop green energy sources as they work to decarbonize shipping. However, the year has been completely overshadowed by the impact of COVID-19 on the industry and especially on the seafarers who are facing one of the worst humanitarian crises in the industry. More than 300,000 seafarers are currently stranded on ships, with some now working for more than 17 months at sea without a break. A further 300,000 workers are unable to join ships and potentially face unemployment due to government-imposed travel restrictions and quarantine measures in different parts of the world. The IMO and the UN has urged governments to act in a coordinated manner to recognize seafarers as key workers, exempting them from travel restrictions and implementing the recommended protocols for safe crew changes. The Maritime Executive, an international news agency, has reported that there has been a possible approach of a tanker at sea off Ghana by suspected pirates. While such incidents are common in the Gulf of Guinea, the report indicates that location of this particular operation was outside the usual jurisdiction of the pirates. Other reports state that the incident took place approximately 72 nautical miles off Takoradi at around 8:50 hours local time on 22nd September 2020. The vessel that is believed to have been targeted is the tanker Hafnia Phoenix, a 7-year-old Danish flagged tanker. The vessel, which measures 600 feet in length, was sailing from Lomé, Togo to Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. A skiff believed to be carrying 9 to 10 people approached the tanker with a ladder. The tanker increased speed and took evasive maneuvers. It was able to leave the area without further incident.
Schedule of vessels that have berthed within the port, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate is up next. Coming up is your comments. Comments. Sami from Accra asks, I would like to know whether you need any additional papers from customs apart from the one from the auctioneer before you can register a car auctioned by the police. Hi Sami. Customs says because the vehicle was purchased for the Ghana police, like many other government vehicles, duties were exempted. So you would have to take the auction chit and receipt of your payments to customs so they can calculate the duty for the vehicle for you to pay that before you are allowed to register the vehicle. This is Orlando. Can I claim my paid duty fee if I am not able to clear the car? Orlando, you would have to write formally to the Commissioner General stating tangible reasons why you were unable to clear your cargo, and then customs would make a decision based on your reasons. Boogie from Aflao asks, can owner who was not able to pay his or her duty due to penalty come and buy it during the auction period? Hi Boogie, you would have to risk engaging in the competitive bidding process just like other bidders during the auction of your vehicle. However, there is a window until 48 hours before auction where you can write formally to appeal to the Commissioner General to pay and retrieve your vehicle. An anonymous viewer commented, accessing duties online was the best thing that happened in customs. We still need that back to help clients outside Ghana know their duties before shipping. That's it for this week's episode of Iron Ports. Thank you for watching.